The news is significant here amid ongoing threats from former President Trump that he might levy 25% tariffs on Canadian goods if that country doesn't address the border. Just today, Mr. Trump again posting on social media about Canada possibly becoming the 51st U.S. state. He said in part, quote, "Many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned." Meanwhile, there is this fascinating article in the Buffalo News today suggesting the incoming Trump administration may take drastic action at the border with Canada that could be crippling to our region. Trump border czar Tom Homan wants New York to get rid of its so-called green light law that gives drivers licenses to undocumented immigrants. How will he enforce that? Well, the article says, quote, "The news asked Homan if it is possible that federal officials will block cars and trucks with New York license plates from entering the United States from Canada until New York begins sharing DMV information." The news raised the question because a well-connected law enforcement official recently told a reporter that such a scenario is under serious consideration by Homeland Security officials. Homan did not rule out the possibility. Rosanna Berardi is a local immigration attorney and managing partner at Berardi Immigration Law and joins me now live. Rosanna, I saw this and I thought, goodness, if this happened, we would be in trouble considering how important the border is to us. Legally speaking, I mean, is it possible to leverage a move like this, in your opinion?
Well, thanks for having me. Let's just say highly, highly, highly unlikely that this will ever happen. I mean, think about the number of cars that have New York State license plates on them across the border each and every night, not just in Buffalo, New York, but at other various border crossings. So highly unlikely. I think this is part of the rhetoric of the incoming Trump administration saying we're very serious, we're taking this immigration stuff very seriously, and we don't like some of these laws. I think it is definitely a shot out, a reminder of what's actually going to happen.
In terms of the green light law in New York State, it has been controversial from the beginning. Obviously, the incoming administration wants it changed. You know, the federal government does have a lot of power in terms of the money that it gives to states or, you know, different levers they can pull. Do you see the green light law possibly going away in New York?
Actually, I don't. So the green light law, even though it's called other things, exists in 19 other states in the United States. At least 3 lawsuits in New York State have been filed in the last 4 or 5 years. And every court has said, look, the federal government may not like this, but the states have the unilateral authority of controlling driver's licenses. It's a state issue. So it's a really interesting legal issue. And I would imagine it will be challenged again. It creates a huge tension between the federal government, which usually has the last say on all things legal, and the states. But we've seen this in the past before, and many courts and many judges have upheld it. So time will tell, but I don't want anybody losing sleep over their inability to come into the United States if they have a New York State license plate on their car. My motto right now is if something sounds outlandish, it's unlikely to happen in the United States. And if it does happen, it'll happen for a second before it's litigated. So I think this one's a non-starter, but I also think it's an important part of the administration's message saying we're not playing around on immigration.
In 30 seconds, Rosanna, can I just ask you for your reaction to, again, Mr. Trump saying today that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state?
Boy, does he love that. Boy, does he love that a lot. And a lot of Canadians, you know, may or may not like that. I think it's funny and comical. I don't think it's likely to happen, but he surely loves to get that out there in the media and has everybody talking about it. So time will tell, but I think very unlikely as well.
A lot of change happening in Canada with Justin Trudeau's announcement today. Always
Absolutely.
Appreciate your insight. Immigration attorney Rosanna Berardi. Thank you.
Thank you.